In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys 5 weird or maybe even quirky things about the BMW X3. Let's get started. Alright, so we're just gonna get right into it with number 1, and that's actually gonna be something on the exterior of the car, and that is the accent colors on this BMW X3. By the way, guys, ignore the fact that I'm parked between 2 parking spaces. I did that so I can have some space between the cars, so I can easily walk around the car and whatnot. I'll definitely fix that afterwards. It's not a BMW driver thing, I promise. So as you guys can probably tell just by looking at the X3, this is not just a normal X3. This is an X3 M40. So of course, the badge over here in the back gives it away, as well as like the bigger exhaust over here. So since it's an X3 M40, that means it has the M package by default, which should mean that this thing looks more sporty. Although this thing definitely does look a lot more sporty, I'm just not a huge fan of the accent color that they put on it. It almost looks like a brushed nickel. It kind of looks like a bathroom hardware set. So you can find it over here on the grille, as well as this bottom piece of the bumper, the mirror caps over here, and then even the side vents. So now, as you guys can tell, this accent color is pretty much all over the truck. I know it's not too bad. It definitely beats chrome that they used to put on these cars, but I personally think if you have an M package by default, it should just be all blacked out. They do also have an additional like shadow line that you could have opted for when you first bought this truck. That would have blacked out everything in it. So again, that means the grille, the front bumper over here, the side mirrors, and then that vent on the side. But that's an additional package, and I just feel like an X3 M40, even though it's a baby M badge, it's still an M badge. It should just be blacked out by default. So number 2 on my list actually still has to do with the outside of the car, and it has to do with this vent over here. At least I think it's a vent. That's what's really weird about it. I have no idea what it is. By the way, guys, also ignore how dirty the car is, because clearly I have not washed it in a while. This one's probably on me. I have no idea what this thing is or what it's supposed to do. When I actually first saw it on the SUV, I thought it was something wrong with it, and I actually went to the other side and saw that the other side had the same exact thing. So I probably just don't know what it is, but I still find it weird. If anybody does know what it is, like, let me know down in the comments below. I'd actually be really curious. Quick side note, check out that Fox body behind me. So yeah, just looking at it, it looks like it's supposed to be a vent. If you guys can tell, it's probably hard to tell on camera, but this thing is enclosed. And then it doesn't really look good either. It kind of just looks awkward in the middle of the side skirt like that. At least I think so. Like, it also has this side vent over here, which I say side vent in quotes because it's not actually a vent. This one also, if you guys can tell, is closed, which is also a little weird, but at least that one looks good. It kind of gives like a more aggressive look to the X3 M40. The reason why I actually find it strange is because I also have a 435, if you guys didn't know already. That one also has a side vent, and obviously is not an M4, it's a 435 with the M Sport package, but that side vent is functional and it actually has like a pathway. So that one I get. This one is weird. It's literally just cosmetic, and I don't really know BMW for doing that a lot. Even just to further prove it, if you guys can see over here, there's no openings, and then over here as well, there's no pathway for any air to flow through. So although I'm okay with that one because it looks good at least, the one on the bottom, I have no idea what it's supposed to do. It doesn't look good. It doesn't function, at least to my knowledge. So I don't know. I just think it's weird. All right, so number 3 is actually gonna be inside the car, and that is the engine start button. If you guys couldn't tell by now, everything that I'm saying about this SUV is very small, nitpicky things. That's because overall, I absolutely love this thing. I think it's a great SUV. It's very fast. It's fun to drive. Like, I love it. If you guys are thinking about getting it as well, personally, I think you should just go for it. One of the best mid-size SUVs out there in my opinion, especially if you want something fun, fast, and still spacious. Yeah, the reason why I think this start button is weird though is honestly the positioning. So if you guys can't tell, this dash piece over here kind of protrudes and then it leans in on both sides. So though on camera it kind of looks like it's flat, this start button is actually leaning towards that way. Perhaps this angle will give you guys a better view, so it's not really straight onto the driver. So it's a little funny because when you guys want to start up the car, one, the start button is behind the steering wheel, so you kind of have to like curve your hand, and then not only that, it's like facing that way too. It's just a really weird position for a start button. I don't mean to keep on comparing this car to my 435, but I had my 435 for like 3 or 4 years now. This X3 is still new to me, so the 435 is what I know. But in that car, like, the start button makes sense. It's just flat on. It's next to the steering wheel, not behind it. This one just doesn't really make much sense. Again, a very small thing, but still a little weird. That's okay, guys, because that's actually something BMW fixed in a later model of this X3. So obviously mine has it over here, but in some later models, BMW actually moved it to like the center console over here. Obviously that would be much easier to reach because you can just lay your arm over here and press it easily. But regardless though, mine has the start button. All right, so number 3 on my list is actually the steering wheel. So once again, this is an X3 M40. That means it has the M package. And if you guys can tell, this does not look like an M Sport steering wheel. It's a little weird and you're probably wondering why it doesn't. Because again, like in my 435, when you get the M Sport, by default, you get with the M Sport steering wheel. Now you're probably thinking that's just another package that the original owner of this car didn't opt for, similar to like the Shadow line. Obviously, if you didn't pick it up, I bought this car secondhand, so I didn't really get to pick what goes into it, but that's actually not the case. There's literally no option to even get an M Sport steering wheel on this car, and that's because this specific X3 is a 2018. All the cars in the 2018 model year received this steering wheel. It wasn't actually until 2019 that they started doing the M Sport steering wheel. So in 2019 and beyond, if you get the X3 M40, you get the M Sport steering wheel. No additional packages, no additional options, it just came with it. Unlike in the 2018, although I have the full M Sport package, I still get stuck with this like base model 5 Series looking steering wheel. Obviously not the end of the world, but the steering wheel is something that you see every day. It's literally what you touch the most in a car and what you interact with the most. So having an M Sport steering wheel I think makes a huge difference, and it kind of sucks that this one doesn't have it. And it's a little weird that they just didn't offer it at all. It's not like the M Sport steering wheel is completely new to BMW, and then in 2019 they're like, oh, let's actually start making a different type of steering wheel for the M package. They've been making M Sport steering wheels for a while, they just decided not to include it on the X3, at least in 2018. So yeah, a little weird. Alright, so my next and final one, number 5, actually has to do with the turn signals in this car, which since this is a BMW, if you guys are driving this car, you're probably not even going to use anyways, because BMW drivers don't use their turn signals. But regardless of whether or not you use your turn signals, in this one, just like in any other car, you have a turn signal stock over here, so if you press it down, your signal starts going to the left. And then when you want to turn it off, you bring it up. Something that's cool but also kind of weird about it is, let's say you guys want to turn on your turn signal just to switch lanes. BMW actually thought about that, and they're like, hey, if you just tap it, your turn signal will go on 3 times. So this is a very BMW feature. Pretty much every BMW has it. It seems like a cool feature, but the weird thing about it is, why 3 signals? Why not like 5 or 6 or 10? Like, who changes lanes fast enough to change lanes in the matter of 3 signals? I just don't see anyone changing lanes that quick. It's a cool feature, and it could have been a lot cooler, but BMW is kind of weird, and they made it only 3. So again, nothing major, all little things here and there, just nitpicky things. Overall, I absolutely love this SUV. I'm actually building it, so if you guys want to see that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because a lot of the things I talked about, I'm actually going to be swapping out, like the steering wheel, the accents on the car. So again, if you guys want to see that, stay tuned for more videos. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop it a like, drop me a comment, guys. Let me know what you think down below. And yeah, with that said, this video is over. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.